My name is Gretchen Schutte, and my business is Peace in the Pause. And I am a yoga and meditation guide that helps busy people create space to pause, breathe, add in some movement, and be able to move through the world as a better version of themselves. And so I share yoga, meditation, breathing practices, and on a class level for individuals and in bigger programs like retreats.
Nice. Tell me a little bit of a backstory of how you got into your industry and what led you here.
Well, I like to say, because it's true, that I found yoga because I dropped my coffee.
Oh.
A long time ago, like almost 20 years ago, the one thing that would get me out of bed in the morning was to know that I could stop and get a coffee with a green label, let's say. And it was the motivating factor of getting my day started. And I had my very special coffee made a very certain way. And I was making my way into the office where I worked, and I dropped it. And I became unraveled. I lost my stuff and was incredibly upset over dropped coffee. And so I realized that there was something bigger that was wrong.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stress in my life, a lot of dis-ease. And it was sort of the caveat of, we need to figure out a way to make a change. And I had had folks tell me, oh, you should try yoga. And I probably had some smart words for them at the time. And I decided that maybe they're right. And so I walked into a yoga class, and my very favorite thing about it, and I still remember Wendy was her name, and she taught out of her home. It's the one thing that I didn't feel like I had to be good at, and it's the one place I could go where I could turn down the volume of everything that was going on. And I wanted to know, one, how that worked, and two, can we have more of that, please?
Yeah.
So almost 20 years later, I'm still practicing yoga. I've been teaching yoga for 11 years because I got to a point where I need to share this with others, because if I can change my life with this practice, I want to be able to give that gift to other people. And so I took a teacher training and learned how to teach. And that's grown from there. I've taken additional training since. And 6 years ago, I left the corporate world, brought my coffee with me. And I've been working for myself, the owner of and founder of Peace in the Pause. And as I noted, I teach group classes, I teach private sessions, and I keep looking for different ways to be able to bring these practices to people where they are.
Yeah.
I really value meeting someone where they're at.
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as making eye contact with someone at a coffee shop and intentionally breathing and just holding that space for them.
Yeah.
It could be something bigger, like getting away for a day retreat out in the woods. And so it's been a delight to navigate this journey, a delightful challenge in some ways as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it continues to evolve.
Yeah. So it sounds like you want to provide, bring your experience to their world on location, right? So that way they can have that ease of access to be able to experience yoga in their space as well as yours if they wanted to.
Yes. And I'm all for yoga studio. I'm all for having practices that are accessible to people to come in and step out of their world, their everyday flow, I call it, to enjoy space for themselves. But I also know that there are people that aren't comfortable necessarily, or they just don't have the time. And so I've had the opportunity to, whether it's virtually or in person, connect with people for whether it's 45 minutes of movement or a 20-minute breathing break that I do believe changes their trajectory of their day and makes the world a little bit better for them.
Awesome. I love what you're doing. I love that you're offering those services and helping people be more in tune with themselves and the moment.
Yeah.
Based on your experiences, what do most, just because I'm curious and maybe some listeners might be curious too, what do most people like to come in for yoga or are hoping to experience when they go there? Is it like some stressors in their life? Is it just breathing? Is it something completely that's like, whoa, I didn't know yoga could offer this to me?
Right. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think sometimes we walk into a practice or walk into a studio not knowing what we're looking for, and then we find so much more. I came in for stress relief. Other people come in for mobility and flexibility. They might be some kind of athlete, or they just want to be able to get up and down off the floor and play with their kids. And then I find that when you begin that practice and you do find the things you're looking for, like range of motion, flexibility, strength, you also then begin to find ways that you can reduce stress. You can be more present with your family, and just be a better version of yourself.
Awesome. Love that. What are some maybe breathing techniques or yoga techniques that just for anyone listening they could try with ease and maybe help their day be a little bit more calm or at ease for them?
For sure. So one of the many things I have is a podcast, and I share a variety of breathing practices and things there. And two of the easiest things we can do, well, two of the simplest things we can do. They're not always easy. But the first one would be to simply pay attention to our breath. Like, how am I feeling right now? And can we like gaze at the wall or close your eyes for a moment and feel into your breath and notice what it feels like. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of that is, one, you're checking in with yourself and your body's like, yes, listen. And it brings you to the present moment, right? And so that breath awareness is a really beautiful thing that you can do. Mm-hmm. And then from that breath awareness, a practice I use often, truth be told, I use it on the way over here.
Okay, share it.
Yes, indeed. And it's not rocket science, which is what I love. It's a practice called balanced breathing. Right? And so in Sanskrit, which is an ancient language of yoga, the Sanskrit name for it is Samavriti pranayam. Okay. And so Samavriti is same fluctuation. And what you simply do is, as you're breathing, you get a feel for how long your inhale is. Mm-hmm. And let's say the inhale is for a count of 4. And then when you pause, you begin to then find your exhale to match that. So you take an exhale of 4. And maybe your number's 3 or 5 or something different, but we simply inhale and exhale at an even same rate. Mm-hmm. And what that does is that when we focus on our breath and we bring balance to our breath influences our energy, our body, and our mind. And so then the breath can be the guide to bring balance to our energy when we're feeling like we're spiraling out of control.
Yes.
Or we're like, no more. Right? So we can bring ourselves back to balance with the energy, with our body, and then the mind catches up and again becomes present and is able to navigate whatever situation you're in. So balanced breathing, which is equal fluctuation, and even just beginning with, am I breathing?
Yeah, that is really cool. Thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned your podcast. What is the name of it so people who want more tips on that or are interested can check it?
Indeed. The podcast is called Peace in the Pause. I kept things easy.
Yes, you did. Smart. And that brings me to my next question with marketing. So you're doing a podcast. What about online, like with social networking? Are you putting any tidbits of information out there online on like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok?
Indeed. I haven't grown into the TikTok world yet.
That's totally fine.
I feel like that's the next frontier, if you will.
Yes.
But I do have a presence on Facebook and on Instagram. And my website also, all Peace in the Pause, because that's what I'm seeking and that's what I'm trying to offer people. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It simply needs to be intentional. And so I put out short videos and tips. In addition to those platforms that are content to share, I also have a yoga and meditation library that people can subscribe to. And so there's over 100 classes of different styles, as well as meditations that are guided. And so you can bring me into your home and have a personal practice with me.
Nice. And I know that you do some retreats. Talk to me about that and the workshops and the history behind yoga and the practice. Share all of that good stuff with us.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
And it's great. And so I guess I'll take a step back and say that the history of yoga itself is deep and rich. It's over 5,000 years old. And I do my very best to honor the lineage of that practice and honor the teachers I've had, and to be the best version of the teacher that I share with others. One moment.
No.
I'll breathe in.
Yes.
And then I'll breathe out. I got a lot of thoughts in my head. That's why I do yoga. So one of the things I do is lead teacher trainings to share the depth of yoga, right? And so from these ancient teachings that I'm able to share with groups of people as they dive into it, but also to layer into stepping away for a day or a weekend. Once a quarter, I do a day retreat where from like 10 to 4, you can step out of the everyday flow, go someplace in nature, practice yoga, practice mindfulness, come together in community, and then just enjoy unplugging. In the fall, I'll be leading a retreat in the fall of 2025, a local retreat in Virginia. And I more recently began leading international retreats. I took a group to Iceland in
My dream.
it's my favorite place, and it's amazing because it's so quiet and
Yes.
peaceful. And so I was able to take a group there in 2022 and had an amazing time.
I bet.
I supported a retreat that we went to Bali in 2023. And then I'll be going back to Mexico in March of 2026. There's ample time for investigating, signing up, getting an early bird special. And what's great, it's a short flight. It's a chill area. It's a beautiful space we get to stay in. We're 2 blocks from the beach. And we have yoga, relaxation, and then local adventures like swimming in cenotes, going snorkeling.
That sounds so cool, man.
Yeah, and so we start the day with yoga. We start the day with meditation and practice and watching the sunrise. And then we carry that mindfulness with us through all the different activities that we do. One of the practices that really came through to me during the sheltering of our pandemic was practices of embodiment.
What's that?
And so embodiment, the definition, if you will, is to be attuned to and inhabiting our senses. And so the natural world is welcoming us to see and to hear and to taste and to feel and to smell. And so when you're out in the woods and you're breathing in all the benefits of being out with fresh air, things that are called phytosides, seeing the colors, not having your phone in front of your face. And so when I go places for retreats, whether it's a weekend, or a day, which is totally worth unplugging, or longer, we're able to take that practice of presence and embodiment and immerse ourselves in experiences that gives us a whole nother layer of enjoyment.
Yeah. No, I think that is so great to like dial it back to like where we are right now and just take a moment to be with yourself and nature and the people around you all having the same experience without your phone right there, right? To know what's going on everywhere else. Like focus on you and right now.
Yes.
I think that is so incredible. Like this is cool. This is your job. Like this is awesome.
There's moments I have to stop and literally stop for myself and say, I get to do this, right? I get to go visit. So one of the things I do with workshops, again, to help expand, to share tools. So the Loudoun County Library System, I've been working with them since 2017 perhaps.
Okay.
And through the pandemic we had virtual sessions, so we were able to do things. We got on a platform like WebEx and I offered meditation and calming practices for people that were stuck at home. And since then we've now been able to get back together, and so I lead monthly workshops. Lately, or the one that's coming up soon, is one on the benefits of stress relief that come with breathing practices and meditation. And in the fall, I'll be leading practices that have some gentle yoga and then some breathing practices and meditation as well.
Oh, you sound booked and busy. That's awesome. I had a question about the places that you are selecting to do these retreats. Do they have like a special significance or maybe a community there with yoga? Like, I'm just curious, like how do you pick your places you go?
So when I began leading retreats, I think the first one was in 2018, and it was local. And so I found a retreat center. What I look for with a retreat center is to have a space that has nature involved, has good food, and has the ability to have a large yoga space that we can get together and practice.
Yeah.
And I came across a space just south of, it's in a town named Madison, and it's a beautiful space. There's a river or a creek, depends on the size.
Yeah.
But there's water. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Listening to water, side note, listening to water.
That.
Right. And do you know why?
No.
Okay. So one is, I believe that listening to water taps into our primal senses, our amygdala, our downstairs brain.
Whoa.
When water's moving, something deep inside us knows that the water is safe, because stagnant water can hold disease, but flowing water means that it's safe to drink, it's clear, it's safe to use. The other thing that studies have shown is that the sound of moving water is relaxing to your cardio system. And so if you're ever at a doctor's office and there's a water feature, it's to help calm the body and mind, because that sound of water calms our cardio system.
Whoa,
Yeah.
now I know. No, seriously, whenever I hear water, I have to like close my eyes and I'm just like will listen to it. Even just seeing the water, like when you, I don't know if you put it through a light or through a window or a source, the wave, when you just stare at them, it just like, I could stare at it all day. I don't know if that's some freaky stuff I'm sharing, but I don't know.
I think it's great.
Thanks.
We can talk about nature all day long. And the thing is, we are of nature, right? We put ourselves in boxes not that long ago and live in boxes, which I love the box I live in. I like the couch. I like the electricity. I like the air conditioning. Yeah. But when we separate ourselves from nature, we kind of lose track of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so when we see these things that remind us of who we truly are, right? And so I find these spaces like the one in Virginia. There's another one in West Virginia. Again, it's on the Potomac River. It's a beautiful space to spend time in. Mm-hmm. When I led a retreat there, the gentleman who owns that retreat center has a retreat center in Mexico. And I enjoyed the experience so much that that's the location that we went to when we went to Mexico. Yeah. We geeked out on Iceland earlier. Iceland is one of my favorite places. I went for the first time the year I turned 30, so not that long ago.
Oh my gosh,
long enough.
Congratulations to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I've been, my retreat that I led has been my 4th trip to Iceland. And I love that it's very accessible to get to. It's a short flight, and it's the youngest piece of land on the planet in relationship to the other continents and bodies of land. And so there's this raw energy that is there that we were able to experience and tap into. And then things that you can't see anywhere else.
I believe it.
Yeah. Between the fissures in the land, and literally you can stand with one foot on the North American continent tectonic plate.
Yeah.
And one foot on the Europe.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I'm in 2 places at once. Look at me. Yeah. So there's the places I go to, it's energetic or it's nature-based, which really is the same thing.
Yeah.
And places that I get to go and enjoy and then also share with others.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. You definitely aren't going to be missing out on like good food in Mexico, because be careful. It's really good. Yeah. Where do you hope to see yourself and your business in the next 5 years? Maybe expanding.
And so as I continue to navigate this and figure out, truth be told, when I left corporate, I had an opportunity that, in fact, I manifested the opportunity. So you have to be careful what you ask for, or know what you're asking for. Yeah. When I stepped into working for myself as an entrepreneur, frankly, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And I'm just continuing to figure that out. Okay. But one of the things that I'm continuing to grow and leaning into is how can I continue to offer practices of breath, movement, and mindfulness and bring them to people within the corporate setting. Simply from how I felt 20 years ago, and even in the last 10 plus years, I'm still a human. I'm still navigating life as it is as a business owner. And then there's folks that have jobs that they may not be able to get away from their desk, and they have valuable things that they do. And I've had the opportunity several times to go to offices and be in a conference room and share practices. Yeah. And then other instances where I connected with the state of Maine has a health department, and the director brought me in via a virtual platform, and we had a session daily to support their healthcare people during the Healthcare Awareness Week, which was great because then I'm in Virginia, they're in literally the state of Maine, and we're connecting and breathing and helping each other out. And so as I continue to do that, I'm just looking for partners and people that want to bring wellness into their workplace, so that I can offer things. And what I love is that it could be as simple as a 15-minute virtual session to calm the mind and to become more present. It could also be something a little bit more like a 30-minute class or a 45-minute class. Or I come into, if they're leading a corporate retreat and they want to have a morning session to begin each day, that would be something really great to be able to be involved and, again, supporting the people that need these practices, wherever they may be, so that they can be more focused. Those things like they can be more productive, but also just be healthier and happier people.
Absolutely. For anybody maybe who's listening and is inquiring about maybe doing yoga or curious about it, do they have to be like an expert? Do they have to be anything like a prerequisite before they jump in and join the party?
That's an excellent question. I've had lots of conversations where it starts out with, I would do yoga, but, and I understand where people are coming from, right? I would have never thought that yoga would have been something that I would have enjoyed. And so I'd say the only thing that someone needs to do is breathe. And that's what I tell every class I start any day that I teach. And so if you can breathe, you can do yoga, because it can be done sitting in a chair here where we are. It can be done sitting on the floor. It can be done standing in your office.
Yeah.
And so if you're open and willing to try something and breathe and give yourself that gift of presence, you can do yoga.
Absolutely. That's so cool. Like, I feel present right now. And your voice, like, something about it, like, also helps. I wonder if that has, like, a thing, like, the way you talk, right? Do you have to think about, like, be calm and, like, doing that? As opposed to, like, sounding like, all right, everybody, let's get on up and stretch it out.
You know, I have my moments. There's instances where I'll add a little energy to the room because perhaps they feel like they need that boost, or it just, I'm reading the room.
Yeah.
Right? But I was given this megahertz or hertz of tone. And I've been talking since birth, is what my parents say. I've had the opportunity through education with a marketing degree, and then I did Toastmasters for several years to be able to organize my thoughts.
Yeah.
And thankfully, you know, I feel comfortable sharing information with people. But a gift of the universe is the tone of my voice. And I'm grateful for that because it's something I can't teach people. And when I know that someone needs space to be held for them, that's what I offer. And part of it is the energy I bring to the space.
Yeah.
And it gets reflected in my voice and how I hold space in the room itself. And so one other thing that I have, because I have a lot of different things.
Yeah. I love it. Love it.
I am published. So technically, I'm an international meditation teacher. I know, right?
A little flex right there.
So frankly, it was scary to start because people chose to come to take practice with me locally. Mm-hmm. So it was their decision.
Yeah. Right.
And a friend of mine suggested that I record meditations and publish them. And I was like, oh no. No. That's me putting myself out there really far, and that seems kind of scary. And so that was like 6 years ago. And I thought, well, why not? Right? And so I recorded meditations, and there is an app called Insight Timer. And so it's an app that's expansive. It's got teachers from all over the world. They have meditation, they have talks, they have yoga. And I'm one of the teachers. And so I have a handful of meditations. Some are 2 minutes to regroup. Some are 10 minutes to do a short relaxation. And then I have a practice that is one that helps you fall asleep at night. And so if you go to Insight Timer, which is a free to download app, which is awesome, with a ton of great content, and you search my full name, Gretchen Schutte, you can come to my profile and see what meditations may help invite a pause for peace in your day.
I love that you mentioned that because I literally was going to tell you, like, your voice is so calming that I'm probably going to listen to this podcast, like, to listen to your voice again because I mean, I guess maybe I do like ASMR or something, but something about a soothing voice or water, not like the tap, 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 scratchy things, but like anything water or like a gentle voice. Oh, I just love it. So now that I know, we, the listeners too, know that you have an app with that. And what is the app called again?
So the app is called Insight Timer.
Okay, and we just got to look up your name.
Yep, and then you can search for my name on that app. And truth be told, there's a lot of excellent content. I use the app myself for a variety of things. But yes, you search my name on Insight Timer, and that's a way you can access meditations that I've recorded and share.
Perfect. Good to know. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So one of my final questions is, since I have you here, did I touch on everything that maybe you wanted to share with our listeners? If you need a moment to think on that, let me know. Making sure we got everything good.
I think so.
Okay.
I sometimes forget how much I do and the joy that I have with what I'm able to share, you know, locally and 2 hours from here and a plane ride from here. And whether, you know, I meet the people face to face like you, and thank you again for having me.
Girl, thank you for coming.
Or I get a note from someone that I've never met that said, thank you for helping me fall asleep. It's a joy to be able to do this, and I continue to find opportunities to share these practices, to help busy people find a way to pause, to breathe, and to be able to navigate the world as the best version of themselves.
Beautiful. Now, my real last question. You're like, I'm scared. No, it's not that scary. I promise. I hope. If you could leave our listeners with maybe a message, anything that might be in your mind or heart that you want to share, or even just a mantra that you like to live your life by and share that with them, what would that be?
My go-to mantra is, as I breathe in, I say to myself, I am here. And as I breathe out, I say to myself, this is now. And it reminds me to welcome myself to the present moment. My breath reminds me that I can celebrate this present moment. And with every moment we have is a gift. And so I am here, this is now, connects us to the present moment, connects us to ourselves, and allows us to be embodied and enjoy our lives.
Beautifully well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Indeed, it's been super fun.